Mr. Attorney, do you want to start it? You're good at it.
Good morning. Welcome to the Electric Utility Committee meeting this morning. We have City Councilman Jeremy Clay present, along with appointed official Troy Kruger is the Public Works Director, Chandra Phillips is the Finance Officer, and I'm the City Attorney, and I think we're expecting our Superintendent of the Electric Department shortly, but Troy, I'll ask you to go ahead and get started.
End of the year, don't have a whole lot to report for this meeting. We were informed, we got sent an email out from MRES the other day. That's your S1 utility rates increase for 2024.
Yep.
Not a lot of, basically they wait till they get WAPA's, till they figure out what WAPA's increase is gonna be, and then they buy from WAPA, and so then they put their percentage increase on there. So a few have went up 3 cents, a cent. Not anything that wasn't expected, small percentage increases. Anyway, I mean, I think it's a 9-page document. A lot of it goes into explaining the different rate increases. Basically, you have your peak hours, your mid-peak and your off-peak, and then you have your summer rates and your winter rates, and then you have your spring and fall rates. And so there's a few adjustments in there for spring and fall, a few cents up because that's their off time. Obviously, our rates go way down. I guess I just wanted to take a chance to explain to people once again when it comes to MRES. MRES is our supplemental energy supplier. We get most of our power from WAPA, but when we do buy from MRES, we pay a different rate. And there's it depends upon the weather. Basically, it's driven by the weather, the summer and winter. Obviously, we're higher in the winter because we have a lot of electric heat in town. Summer rates are usually a little lower, but yeah, the weather's the driving factor on when we actually use MRES or not. There's a lot of months where we never buy anything from MRES, and then we've had years where we've only used them a couple months out of the year. So that's that. If you have any questions on that, like I said, it's nothing that wasn't expected. Kurt's budget. This last month he over exceeded on his revenues line, so we're sitting at 104.97%. So his revenues look really good. And then on his expense side, as of today, his numbers, my numbers, Chandra's numbers are matching up really closely right now this time of the year because my guys pretty much got told by November 30th to have all their POs, all their major purchases into the office so that we can close out the 2023 year. So he's got a couple payrolls to come out of there and some utilities, and that's about it. He's sitting at $260,917, so did a good job of spending his budget this year. It's what he's supposed to do, given a budget, and he puts it back into the city. It's going to be real tight, so that's good. And then revenues-wise, his revenues are covering his expenses, so not a whole lot to say there. Waiting for hear from DGR, and are going to have those guys in here when they get our 5, 10, 15-year plan together for you guys, so that we can start planning for some of the utility upgrades on the electrical side and some of our maintenance issues with our major equipment, being our transformer and some of our lines that run through town. Some of the heavy duty stuff, 6-aught and above, we have some replacement, probably going to have some replacement costs with that kind of stuff. So they're going to, when they get our whole 5, 10, 15-year plan done, they're gonna come down and present that to winter. And we've also looked into like projecting where winter growth might be and what we need to do to get power to those areas. Transformer maintenance out there at the at our transformers. We also have not heard from WAPA yet on when they plan to do the maintenance on that. The last numbers I saw was 104,000, and that would be split out 66% by the city of Winter and 33% by Rosebud Electric to get that work done, and they have not scheduled that to date, so. Kurt's running a little late, he has some personal stuff.
Surplus.
What's that?
We need them to approve to send surplus transformers to full council.
Oh, surplusing 3 transformers for scrap. They were brought in to be refurbished, and the refurbishing company said they were beyond refurbishing, so we have 3 transformers that we need council's approval to just put basically surplus those out. They'll be surplus for scrap.
Okay. Send that to full council, yeah.
So the bid wouldn't be open until January, so it'd be a 2024, but at least we can get it out there that it's surplus on the 18th.
On Kurt's budget, where is I'm just not seeing it, the transfers out from the electrical department?
It's on a different page.
It's not here, okay, all right, I just didn't see
Oh,
it.
the 850, and it hasn't,
The what, 850?
yeah, it doesn't come out of his budget sheet, that comes out of his cash, so.
Okay, all right, I just didn't see that on here, and
Yeah,
it was confusing.
this is the revenues and expenses. That comes out of a totally different,
That's not an expense, so.
no.
It is actually, just on a separate
Yep.
page, it's tracked differently.
There he is.
Good morning.
Morning, Kurt. I thought it was interesting looking at the MRES's email. As you indicated, it's not a big significant jump in anything, but what caught my attention is the fact that the peak use goes up 0.3 of a cent, but the other hours only go up 0.1 of a cent. So they're really going to be trying to make a push to get people away from the peak use.
Yeah, if you sit down and figure it out, though,
Oh, it's not significant dollar-wise
it comes out to
yet.
a very, very little amount.
Yeah. But don't you think eventually we're going to see more and more push on that peak use to try to get people down?
No,
You don't?
no.
Okay.
I think they'll go to straight demand. I think they'll just bypass the peak and they'll just go, everyone will just pay off so they'll just go straight off demand. I don't think the peak thing will last very long. I think right now it's just kind of it's a buffer in between major turning points or whatever, the way that the country's been billing like every state as a whole, we're way behind. Like there's states out there that they bill heavily on peak, like those time of use is what they call it. So if you're doing laundry at 8 o'clock in the morning when everyone else is getting up, and those are your high time of use hours, and you start your dryer, you pay for it. I mean, in some states you pay heavily for it. What you see in this sheet is, a half a cent, a third of a cent. It's nothing significant yet, but I think unless they come up with some other way to make a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Start burning trash or running squirrels in a cage or whatever they come
Right.
up with next.
So remind me, have we put the electrical rate on CPI? We have not, have we?
No.
Yes.
It is, okay. So when you're talking about rate increases, that's to the city, our cost?
Correct.
Not because the consumer rate is on CPI. Okay. What is the only thing on our revenues that is not in electric, that is not on CPI? Water?
Sanitation,
Sanitation?
that's the only thing not on CPI. Your
Okay.
minimums are CPI, your Usage rates are on CPI 1/2.
Okay, I remember that. All right, that was on my mind. Just one.
Your surcharges and your sanitation are not set up to automatically go up. Those are set currently.
What do you have to say, Kurt?
Talk about.
Whatever you have in front of you.
The reason why I was late is meeting with the salesman about this. It's like a Google car. They go through and they will thermal image your entire system for you.
See where your loss is, or
See if there's stuff tracking within all that imagery. They will be able to GPS every pole. They are able to GPS everything in the image. And that goes for like water, street signs, any, basically on there. And then you obviously will get your hotspot images and stuff like that and everything too. So they're just talking to me kind of about that, I guess. So
what's the cost of that?
they kind of said right around 15 grand to do our entire system on there. So that was on there. Kind of, the GPS things, that was for as long as our mapping and stuff like that. Get it done in one fall swoop type of a deal might be beneficial. And then being able to see them hotspots, we do, Missouri River will come and do that for us, but I had them do it this summer. I want to say it was like $1,800. But that was us driving and stopping at a spot, getting out and doing it. You know, or this guy that they said it would take him less than a day to go through everything. They capture the entire system. With that guy, it was like a half a day. We got to 100 spots. I was surprised, probably closer to 50, I guess. So I mean, it'd be kind of beneficial that way. You can prevent outages as far as stuff tracking. Kind of during the winter time, we're starting to get less and less of them out there, but are porcelain cutouts. Like, I found one this summer actually when we were burying Plum Street. Another one, I think they found 2 of them last year when we were changing them out. They crack, they start to trace, they'll start to blow, start burning the pole on there and everything. So it's kind of just stuff like that. You might find, you know, like this, they're showing a picture of a conductor on the insulator that's starting to wear down and everything. Kind of that type of stuff that you're just probably gonna miss it unless you go up there and actually find it. It's everything, so that was kind of interesting on there. I also talked to, this would be a great benefit for the city, would be CT testing. And that's has to do with our metering, like on a business, and there is some houses out there that are CT. As far as I know, kind of talking to Ty, it's never been done. If they go bad, we don't notice it, and we start to lose money because we can't charge them correctly. They've kind of quoted like, they what do you tell them, there's about 30 of them they can get done in a day roughly or something, or a couple of days. And they were kind of saying it's about $3,600 to have somebody come in there and do that. I think that'd be a great thing. Like a lot of towns, is what he's kind of telling me, our size are even bigger. They'll kind of section off the town and say, hey, we're going to do a quarter of them this year, a quarter of them next year, quarter type of a deal. And kind of move for that, and that way if we find some on there. Through this meter project, I think we were up to 5 spots that we have found that weren't being metered correctly on there. So one of them was a decent chunk. It would have paid for the CT testing on there. We don't know on the other one right there. It was just not wired right from the start. From whenever the service was put in years and years ago, it had no diameter on it, so however long ago that was, so that was kind of crazy, but.
Just bypassing the meter somehow?
It was, the one that we found that wasn't wired correctly, it was missing a ground on there, so the meter itself needed to have a reference to ground, it didn't have it, so Ray and I didn't know, like, this is wrong, you know, we seen it, we looked at the wire metering book that we got, we seen that was wrong, and, we're working with a guy through Irby that does like the metering stuff, and he's been helping us out through us on this new metering system we're putting in, and he used to be, one of these CT testers, meter tester guy, came from the field, and we were talking to him about that, and he said that it was probably metering 66% of the load, so we were losing 33% back on there, so, for years, yeah, on there, so I never did really look to see what type of load they had, they kind of said, well, we could potentially X amount of dollars over these things, so that would, I think that would be something that I'd like to look into as far as that. I know they sell testers themselves. They're, like, the cheapest one's like 15 grand. But then you actually gotta have the time to do it, you know, and that's something that we've talked about, would be beneficial to have one or not. It's, yeah, I don't know as far as some of the other stuff that we're trying to get done too. And that's the cheap end. There's some of them that are 48,000. The city of Pierre has 2 of them, and their theory was they find one business, they pay for the tester, you know?
Wow.
And everything like that, so it's definitely something out there to think about that kind of hurts things, the pocketbook a little bit too, so. It's kind of that, and then transformers, we sent in some to Jerry's Electric to have rebuilt. I'm having 6 of them rebuilt overhead tubs. You can't judge me for my decision making on this because I just don't know, you know, as far as what we're gonna need and what we don't, so I'm just kind of going off of a whim as far as we could potentially need these for an overhead tub in case one goes bad, but having 7 of them rebuilt into pad mounts, the salesman told me that I had heard about it and I just didn't know where any spots were. He said Jerry's Electric was doing it. They go through them, they test them, you're getting a brand new tank, you get brand new oil, all refurbished, 3-year warranty, which is pretty much a match for a new tub. You get a 3-year warranty on those usually, and about half the cost to do this. So I think it was like $24,000 to have new 7 transformers, and I think that is a very good option for us as we move forward to Berry.
Because of the availability of it.
Yeah, 40, still weighs out 42, 44 weeks. We're saving half on there. And, you know, we can get it as we're taking some down, we can get them sent in, get them changed over, and then we'll have some sort of availability on those, which I think is the best option right there. My opinion, and kind of the engineer said years before, they would say, don't buy refurbished transformers, but now that's kind of, what do you do type of thing. A lot of towns do it. I'm not saying that I know that in Brookings, we helped out some smaller towns that that's what they would buy, or refurbished transformers. We didn't see too many problems with them, but, so I don't think it's a terrible idea, especially with the.
What's the life expectancy of it versus a new? Was it half or don't know?
I've stuck a brand new transformer out and it was bad in 5 days. And I've stuck a refurbished one out and as far as I know, it's still working out there. So, yeah, I don't know. Transformers, one thing I can kind of say is they were built better back in the day, it seems like. You see a lot of old ones that, yeah, that thing needs to be changed out, but it's still working. And then you see one that's probably been out there 10, 15 years and it'll go bad. But this one's been out there for 30, 40 years, you know? So, that would be kinda tough. I would, you know, if you're getting 10 years out of it, that's what I would expect on there. And I think you can probably get longer, definitely on there, as long as you're not overloading them and everything like that, so. I think it's the salesman that actually told me that Jerry's did that. It wasn't Jerry's salesman, but he showed me some pictures from a town that he was at, that they had a new building, it looked good. You know, it's not like they're taking some old tank, you know, that looks kind of crappy, I guess you might say, so they look like a good transformer, and everything's pretty old new besides the cores and stuff, but they do testing and everything like that. Out of that pile that we sent in there, 3 of them, she came back and said that if too much money to either change them into a pad mount or refurbish them into a pole top, so we'll end up surplus of these 3. It's not a very good market for those transformers. You kind of lose quite a bit from what you're paying for them, but it's what it is too. It's kind of the gist of it. And then today will be our last pole change out on 7th Street there between Land Road and Main. We got one more to do. We're gonna do that today. So we'll have all those brand new poles, insulators and everything, so a little bit of a rebuild on it too, so.
How many meters do you have deployed now?
986, right there. We have changed out both trailer parks, completely done on there. Got most of the apartments in town too. I think we got kind of those ones over on Spruce to do, about it too. And then I think we got 13 left that we gotta rewire as far as like the 3-phase ones. And we just gotta set up some outages and stuff like that, try to coordinate with them. The hospital's one of them, the school, and everything. Have to come in early and just rewire, but plugging away on them.
Excuse me.
I think we're done.